Well, that's just sad.
Yep, it is.
All right, did you guys get your sticky notes in your book? You got at least 4 of them?
Yep.
You need your book open, you got them already. You don't? If you don't, you don't. Okay, so chapter 10 is 1846 to 1861, the Union Crisis. Okay, does anybody have anything in the intro? 323. Or just a quote by Stephen Douglas breaks the sections down. Sam.
So after they have those shackles on the side, it doesn't really look like they lock, so how do they stay?
It doesn't look like they lock. I'm sure they lock in some fashion. I'm not familiar with them.
It looks like there's some kind of pin operation.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it claps like that, and then that part right there just gets put into the bigger hole, and then it probably uses the chain to hold it like that to the other thing.
Yeah, it probably wraps around there and then locks.
So the more they pull, the more harder it is to get out.
Anybody else on 323? All right, what about the next page? Ryan, this is your hand first.
Many people don't realize that the Civil War was more than just slavery. It was like the Southern economy was based on agriculture, and slaves were just part of that. But like by taking away slaves, that would have taken away the agriculture, and their economy would have collapsed. And it was really mainly about like northern and southern power because yes, like slavery was part of it, but there was also like northern did like industry where they were in workshops and things like that, whereas South was more about like farming and things like that. And so there was already a subdivision right there where they were one wanted to do this and one wanted to do that, and they didn't want to listen to each other.
Awesome. Yeah, you're correct. Slavery fueled a lot of that, but there was, and even though it was a regarded theme, you know, there was a lot of people that grew up in the South that maybe necessarily didn't own slaves, but they were defending their rights as just people in the South, and that started boiling over as the chapter goes on. Yes. Anybody else in these 2 pages? Is there?
What had to happen to make people desensitized to selling people in children?
Say that one more time.
What had to happen to make people desensitized to selling people and children? Same page as
324.
325. Sorry.
Alright. Anybody have anything on that?
It's probably because they didn't see them as people. It's probably because when people go to war, they start coming up with names for the opposite side, and they start coming up with rude names. That's probably what they did for these people, so they could probably make them seem like animals to them. Probably help them cope with the fact that they're people, and then make them think they're not.
And this was kind of infused in American people for a long time.
Yes.
So you know, when does it, I don't know if the chapter says it, but you guys know when the first slaves were brought over, at least to the northern part of the United States? I believe it was 1534, read somewhere. And then if you're familiar with Jamestown, I believe, or Virginia, there, 1607 or something, that was created. They said they brought over around 100 slaves in around 1620. Only a fraction of them survived the trip over, but so we had been bringing slaves over and considering them not really human for well over 200 years.
It's like kind of what the Southern views on slavery thing on the bottom of page 225. It says many like Southern people believe that God intended that black people should provide labor for like a civilized society. So that's just kind of their mentality.
Exactly.
I didn't realize there were still 50,000 slaves in the north. I thought that they had only gotten rid of slaves. And I thought it was like a law that they kind of made up in the north not to have slaves, but
No, it's more of a social. It was a social thing and the law, but it was just kind of, for a long time, it was kind of a unwritten law that started separating north and south, and it wasn't like it was perfect, you know what I mean? It wasn't like there was no slaves up here and in the south the same, you know what I mean? So, and that's eventually what started completely dividing us as a country, was all the intricate parts of this, of the issues of this chapter especially. All right, on to the next two pages. If anybody wants to comment on somebody else's question or spot that they put a sticky note, by all means.
I never heard of the free sale party until I had this. That was
Okay, that was new to you? I think the free soil party was just as and a big part of, especially in section 1 and part of 2, was there was a lot of free territory, like new territory coming into play in the West. And free soil party just kind of wanted, I think it does say that actually, free speech, free labor, free men. They weren't, they didn't want to keep some of the Western territory. So that was a big part of what they were talking about in this section. Yes.
So, were they just popular songs to well, whether slavery was allowed or not? And it kind of reminds me of the recent events like the Bergren Practicum, where each state is.
Oh, that's a good comparison. I like that. Yes, you're right. They were struggling to decide whether, you know, when I think about the popular sovereignty, I like it, but I think it is an easy way for politicians to kind of, I don't really want to step either way. Like, almost like gay marriage and abortion today, that's not good. You know, some politicians they don't want to kind of touch on that because it's pretty sensitive for obvious reasons, which was slavery. And so people are like, why don't we just let the people vote for it? Which is a common political view.
I don't remember which section, I think it was section 3. I'll find it in a second. It showed the candidates, Lincoln, Douglas, and Bell, and this other guy. So Lincoln was against slavery. The other one, Douglas, was saying that it should be the states and territories' choice, and John and Bell wanted to support slavery, and last man, John, he wanted to protect slavery. So there was two of them for slavery. One that said just give to
Kind of on
the
the
states,
fence
and
there.
Abraham Lincoln was against it.
Right.
Lincoln wasn't actually against slavery, he was just against the spread of slavery. Like, he
Oh,
was,
spread.
like, I think this is right on there. Cause he like had a quote where he said,
So it says, like when you're looking right here, it says slavery must not be allowed in the territory.
he said that he wasn't trying to like take slavery out of the other spot. Like if he could have kept the Union together, he wouldn't keep it contained.
That was the main goal.
Yeah, he wasn't like trying to like completely take it away from the South, but what he was trying to do was like stop it from spreading toward people like they want, because that's what was happening. Like people would go here and then they want slavery, and then these guys would want slavery. So then there'd be like a huge fight or whatever. So he wasn't trying to take it away from who already had it. So he was just trying to stop the spread. He was trying to prevent this over the pretty much.
By the time you got
But
into
eventually-
office,
And then it was kind of, then
Yeah,
everyone,
pretty well
once
too late.
once you got in there, then the South just eat. So then eventually, so he probably was against it, but he didn't want to say he was verbally against it because they probably tried to start the Civil War later, and he was probably trying to do that.
All right, let's visit back to that when we keep going here. Does anybody else have 327? Any questions about the base compromise? The compromise 1850, that was pretty important.
I didn't really know if there was a slave holding president. And so slave home pledge.
Oh, who was that? Was that? Did it say right there?
Yeah, in the middle of the
I don't know much detail on it, like the interactions between him and
Yeah.
his slave, or slaves. It did say he supported the compromise, and the compromise was, as termed a compromise, but it wasn't very long lasting, and they were just, you know what I mean, over and over, they just tried to make these agreements over the next decade of how they could work through this, and which ultimately ended up in a civil war because they just couldn't agree upon it. But that's a good question. I don't know if anybody has anything to touch on that. I'm not sure of the details or the workings of it. And like a lot of you may know, some of our more famous founding fathers like Jefferson and stuff did have slaves. And which goes back to kind of talking about, they just kind of thought this was a natural way things were. You know, black, people of color were inferior, and maybe this is how they lived. Which obviously today we know that is not right. But this is what they're starting to morally fight over, you know, 150 years ago. So 328 or 329, anybody else? So real quick, since it wasn't an important part, the Compromise of 1850 was, they're really talking about, there was 5 different bills that they pushed through Congress, but the main part was people started migrating over to California for gold. You guys are familiar with Fort Myers and that term. And a lot of people started making their way west, and as so many people coming to an area, then they could declare if they wanted to be a state or not. And then so this became a major issue as some of these new states was slavery going to be allowed there. So this compromise just said, it's on 327 up in the corner, there's the logistics of it basically. Make California as a free state. Number 3 is weird, like a lot of this chapter and how they viewed these, but slave trade would be illegal in the District of Columbia, but not slavery itself. And then equally unique was the Congress who passed the fugitive slave law. Okay, so 328, 329, no? Section 2. Anything on the start of those 2 pages?
Talking about the fugitive slave act,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't think about
I know, I looked into that as well. It was, so the Fugitive Slave Act says what, basically?
if a northern slave goes to the north, they have to capture that and take them back.
Correct. It's basically putting all northern people in the sheriff role. You know, if you see a slave, and if you're willing to testify in front of a judge, just one person, then, you know what I mean, they could condemn them as a slave and bring them back south. And this was a very cloudy type of law. Shady in today's terms.
Or vague.
Correct. So 332, 333. Yes.
So I got the Underground Railroad, the pretty important part of the history, and then I see that they're all like on the north, so.
It's Canada.
Free states.
Yes. So what do you guys know about the Underground Railroad?
Wasn't actually.
When I was a young man, I thought that envisioned that in my head is what it was.
That's what I used to
Correct.
think too, just like rails. I just thought it was.
So it's neither a railroad nor underground. Yeah, it's that. And the terms, they use a lot of the terms for secret codes, right?
Yeah.
Conductors, like Eric, things like that. Safe houses. Okay. Yes.
Sorry, I got a page.
That's
I
all right.
have a comment on the same thing.
Okay. Let's do it.
The picture of top, it's almost specific picture that we had in our DVDs, except it was woman and sister. I guess it's just a male version. And I just started looking at it.
Same kind of artist type work too at that time.
Just different colors.
Yes. Good observation. Okay, anything else on 333?
I have one update for you too.
Go ahead.
I put that they treated them like animals by putting collars with bells, and the reason why we put collars on our pets is so we can get them back. And in other words, they're using this as a way to let people get basically.
Well, I was wondering, like, with these collars and stuff, would that, like, hinder the slaves' ability to work?
Not really.
Something like, I mean, you'd have to reach your arms out far to do the bells, and it looks like they're pretty far
You see
out.
the bells look like, if you see how it curves, the bells would be where their heads are.
Yeah, but if you look at the picture, it's like straight out.
Well, see, that's the picture, like they actually have the collar right there over the picture. You can see how it curves here, so if you had the collar on, the bells would actually be right here going over your arm. This is, of course, you're reaching out.
And then you like,
And this
You're
is part
reaching
of the
out.
punishment of,
But usually what they
So
do
not all
is
slaves
their
are
arms
reaching
are down.
yeah.
pretty gruesome sight. Anything on 333? Anything, anybody have anything on Mrs. Snow and Uncle Tom's Cabin? You guys read that book? Nope. Have you ever read that book?
I have.
You guys have never read it?
I've heard the song.
So that was, I was touching on that. So that was, Uncle Tom's Cabin was just a book, if you read in that little paragraph, that kind of slandered slavery. in a way. And, I have actually never read the book either, but the main character was a slave, is that correct? And
Yeah, it's written at a very elementary level because
Okay.
I wanted to have a wide audience
Yes,
for the
you did.
time frame. Yep, it was. I think it was second only to the Bible in terms of popularity then. So it was a fictional idea, but it showed a master who was very cruel and
And it did open a lot of eyes to what slavery was at that time, whether right or wrong. You know, I mean, a lot of people had said 300,000 copies in its first year, percentage-wise, I figure is close to 10 to 15 million copies today in a year. And if you're selling 10 to 15 million copies of a book in a year, that's extremely popular. Yes.
Here's the last part.
Okay.
I didn't like how it would allow slavery to go to areas that are already free for 30 years, it said. Wow, I think that's kind of weird.
A lot of this could be considered loneliness. Yeah, that he's drawing these different lines over the years. It say it becomes one of the main issues of how this just becomes so heated and starts leading to violence.
I was surprised when our source, like white settlers, whenever our slaves were trying to sleep, they would say they had like mental illnesses.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, they were kind of like basically saying that those things, mental illness,
No, yeah, that was interesting. Yes, it said it, yeah. They actually, I don't know how to say that, but they actually had a name for the disease that would call if you actually wanted to be free. It's pretty incredible.
I find it kind of funny how like a former slave writes about the bad treatment of the slave owner, but then many southern slave owners write their own books about how happy.
Yeah, so they countered that with that book because it made it look so bad, so they countered that with other literature stating that, hey, slavery's not so bad, let's talk about this.
We
You
do
know what I
is, you know,
mean?
we whip people, you know, even people that are under the age of 10, just because we can.
Yeah, so they did try to come back with their own literature as well, yes, that's good. 335 and 336 or 337? Yes.
So in the picture about southern shipping, I thought it was kind of interesting how the southern states United States is being.
Yeah. Good symbolism. I found it interesting on that 337, just the last. I just don't see that as something that would happen today in both accounts. On the last paragraph, I believe it says something to the effect that illustrates the division of the two sides. So Congress tried to remove the gentleman that beat up the guy, and then they just re-elected him and gave him his seat back. Okay, and then at the last part it says the Massachusetts voter re-elected the guy that got beaten in the Congress room to remind of the Southern treachery. This is very interesting and it's pretty powerful, and I don't see it as something that's really, nor do necessarily the beating of somebody that came from it happened today, but it's a pretty interesting topic there.
In the picture too, you can see in the background, you can tell which ones are northern and which ones are southern, because two guys are smiling and two guys are frowning.
Yeah, a lot of the propaganda and the cartoons and stuff of the archery of this era is very interesting. All right, anything else to finish that section? Start on section 3. All right, 340, 341. You're up.
So, like last paragraph of 341, they're telling me it's like their property, and therefore they were not entitled to sue in the courts. So, I just thought I was doing that on someone's property. So I didn't actually think they were wanting to go against someone.
Anybody else have anything to touch on that? Judge Scott or the judge, Amy, specifically? So yeah, I had watched a video on this previously too. One of the Supreme Court judge who has his name is highlighted there basically said that slaves and colored people have been property for so long that they won't be viewed as anything else. So the Dred Scott, that case, he is a Southern slave who was a slave under a army general, I believe, who got reassigned up to a northern state. He said, "Well, I'm in northern states. I shouldn't have to be a slave up here." And he took a couple years to get up to the high level court, and they ultimately decided what Judge Taney says, that your property wherever you go, which furthermore fueled the fire for what's right and wrong, what's north and south. Pretty, yeah, I read some quotes by him and they weren't very kind, to say the least. Right, when I saw you.
I had no idea that there were political parties known as the Whigs or the Donuts.
And these were parties that were, before this time, they pretty well had fizzled out.
Yeah.
And no nothings were even a smaller portion of that. The Whigs had some presidential candidates, I think it talks about in this chapter. And by that time, the Republican Party, as it says, had come into view, which Abraham Lincoln was a part of. But
So, at that time, were the Whigs and all, and like the Free Soilers and everything else, were they, like branches, were they lesser parties? Like, during the election, when you go on Republican and Democrat, and you have the branches off, were they branches or were they actual official?
they were official parties like they are today. We just have narrowed it down to these two today. But some presidential elections before this had ran 3 and 4. Like we have Republican, Democrat, especially this fall we have Hillary. Sometimes they had 3 or 4 candidates that were. That might be argued for this fall, correct? Yes. Yep.
With the Irish and German Palestinian, says the early established religions and the Americans really changed over the selling kind of today with parents and stuff.
Yeah, that is interesting. And a lot of that, how we're sectioned out, slavery, not slavery, farm, industry, a lot of that is also immigrant, non-immigrant as well.
That too, is they used to take, three shows in the same, like that, at least
342, 343.
shows they can be
Yeah.
The court case up here, I didn't think that was fair, but it still wasn't free, I think, like nothing.
Yeah.
All the time we could get, at court,
obviously, but like,
which is not fair. I don't like
And that comes to some of the moral, it's pretty interesting that, and we can't say not one person on this earth was alive, during, now, then, you know what I mean? So like, we weren't there to necessarily know what they were going through. And I watched some videos on just how that works, that part of history, but as we sure know now, and as they were arguing then, as it was starting to come into play, people were like, this is pretty wrong. Pretty, I mean, it's very interesting to see how it unfolds. And you're right, this case, that's why this case is famous for him trying to stand up for his rights. And it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty good. Anybody else on 343?
oh, 343?
Yeah.
I put that now I know where the event and speech debate, the Lincoln Douglas debate,
Mm-hmm.
now I know where it came from.
Oh, there you go. So those were just a series of debates for the U.S. Senator spot in Illinois.
Senate.
Did Lincoln win that Senate seat?
I didn't see that, but I'm sure he did it. Maybe we can mention it.
I'm not sure what it says in the chapter, but he did not actually win that. He did Senate seat in 1858. Okay, 344, 345 is the end of section 3. Anybody have anything on that? From John Brown?
You kind of consider going to the first,
Yeah. Yeah. And he seems like a pretty interesting character because he was an extremist and he wound up killing or murdering people over his cause. But his cause was he didn't like slavery, which was a pretty barbaric thing. So it's pretty interesting. He's a pretty interesting guy.
He was fighting for the right
He
thing,
went about it a little.
but he was going about it the wrong way.
He went about it a little high strung, some would say, but it's very interesting because, you know what I mean, what he was standing up for was not something
That'd be like
taken
a-
lightly, because they were killing
That'd be like
as
Martin
well,
Luther
so
King going around killing people at poses.
I suppose that's a good comparison, yes. All right, anything on 345? I'm going to start at the last section. 346. Yes.
So I thought it was pretty cool how John and was the president. Lincoln was the only one that was really against slavery. And then he still wins. So he didn't get any of the votes from the side.
Yeah,
He still won.
that is interesting. So
That was around 346.
346.
What, 346?
What do you have on that?
No, if you're gonna pull it.
No,
No, exactly.
By all means.
I was just gonna put that he seemed to be the, like, exactly.
You said that
The
earlier.
only candidate that was against the.
That's what I said, it was like, that right there just proves that the main reason the war started wasn't just about slavery, it was more about Northern Southern poverty. Like, nobody in the South voted for him.
Yeah.
How does he win by a 60% margin?
Basically because there's more people. It was a good where he was a good debater as well. He's a very intelligent man.
And this political cartoon, is this Abraham Lincoln?
Next page?
Yes.
Yeah, on 348.
That's funny. They're like all trying to sneak into his house and she's like, alright.
Did he?
So I thought it was surprising to see how much of a vibrant country was that. I don't know, maybe some 2008, but
how much this had been building up. You know, with all the issues in the previous, even if we mark it what this chapter says, 1846, previous 15 years, and how much things are building. And when you sit and think about it, by the time President Lincoln had come into office, it was pretty well inevitable that we were going to war. And I really think of his position, but you know, obviously being president, even nowadays, you just have so much responsibility. You're arguably the most powerful person in our country, and if not the world. I mean, but for his time and what he, and that's why he's stereotypically famous. Was, you know, I mean, for some of these issues. But when you really think about what he had to come into, wow, it's pretty amazing. So 348, 349, 350 in there. Anybody have anything? Brad, do you have something there? Okay. Anybody on these three? Anything you found interesting, even if you didn't, sticky note something?
I'm not on that page.
So just real quick on 350, what did it say? Finally, so Abraham Lincoln, just like we do today, which is pretty neat historically, we're voting today, right? November 8th. I think it said this day was November 6th. Lincoln doesn't come into office till a couple months later, which is what will happen now, right? Because we're going to vote a new president today, and President Obama is going to be president for, I think we do the inauguration at the end of January now. So by the time he gets voted in and wins the presidency in November, looking up top of 350, December 20th, 1860, the first date already says we want out of this. We want out of this meeting. So it already starts before he actually takes the oath of office. It's already starting to break up. The Confederate States of America at the bottom, February 61. 7 states that are labeled on the map start seceding from the Union. Okay, 352, you got something?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, we're on our own for not a lot of time, we've already found
Oh, that is just the interest of the
the
mindset.